We'll make it come true, darling. But you know I can't do much about it myself, don't you? I'll have to leave the persuading to you, or most of it. You're sure you want me to come this evening?
Sure. I can't stand it like this any longer. I'll tell Mum when I get home, and then she'll realise it's serious and forever. Why do one's parents have to be so difficult? Why do they always try to manage our lives as well as their own? They married who they wanted to, so why shouldn't we?
It's a way they have, I suppose, he said, smiling into her flushed face and kissing her again, lightly, barely touching her lips, her cheek, her small and rather indeterminate chin, pushing aside the hair that was like spun silk so that his mouth could reach her soft neck. She gave a little shiver of rapture.
They've got to consent, she said. But, darling, if they don't, we shan't have long to wait. Only 3 months. After my 21st, I can do what I like.
Yes, that's true. But we don't want it that way, do we? No runaway business for you, my sweet. Everything's got to be decent and in good order. White satin and all the rest of it, if that's the way you like it. And I take it you would.
Well, of course that's what I really want, she admitted. Most girls do, and I'd never feel I was properly married without Daddy to give me away, and darling Mummy shedding a few quiet tears. Giles, you'll love them. They're sweet even though they do make me wild at times.
He smiled. The important thing is whether they'll love me, he said.
But they will, they must. Once they've actually met you, they won't be able to help themselves, and they'll realise how idiotic it is to have made all this fuss about it, and that I couldn't possibly be happy with anyone but you. Oh, Giles, darling, darling.
He held her closely and kissed her again. Then he put her resolutely from him. He knew temptation when he met it, and this was by no means the first girl he had kissed. Now I'm going to take you home, he said firmly. Sit back there and don't dare to move again until I tell you to get out. She gave her happy laugh and sat back in her corner.
You take such care of me, which makes it all the more idiotic of them to be so much against you, she said.
I can understand it. After all, on the face of it, I'm not very suitable, am I?
Just because you're a few years older, she said scornfully. I hate boys. I always have done.
He gave her a little crooked smile and, turning into the main road again, gave his attention to his driving. Alison sat and looked at him, her heart in her eyes. Of course they would understand as soon as they saw him. How could they help it? He was so fine, so distinguished. She knew every line of his rather heavy, good-looking face, the strong mouth and chin, the grey eyes deep set and made them more fascinating to her because of the network of fine lines etched about them. For the same reason she loved the slight greying of his hair, dark hair with a strong wave in it which he tried sedulously, but without complete success, to brush straight. A man among men, ran her romantic thoughts. No, a king among men. And at home they talked about her meeting and marrying someone of her own age. A boy of 21. Had they no idea at all of what she was really like inside, what she wanted, what she needed? It was Giles she needed, with every breath of her body, with every thought of her mind, forever and ever. She forgot to tell him to put her down at the corner, but he stopped where he always stopped, pulling into the curb and smiling at her. "Didn't you want me to stop here?" he asked.
"Of course. Just this once, and after this, right to the house. You will come tonight, darling?"
"Of course. What time? 7-ish?"
"Better make it 8. It will give Mummy more time to flap round with the meal. It won't be anything very super, you know. Not giving her any time to get something special."
"I'm coming for you, not food," he said.
"You always say the right thing, don't you? Goodbye for a very little while, darling."
"Shall I ring you first to make sure it's all right?"
"No, it's going to be all right,"
she said positively, and he sat watching her until she had turned the corner and gone out of sight, hurrying, her head held high, short curls blowing in the wind. She was certainly a darling.